Good day, everyone. So, our topic for today is all about why it is important to distinguish the similarities and differences of the terms assessment, measurement, testing, and evaluation. But before we are going to proceed on that, I will give you first an overview about its similarities and differences. Assessment is a process by which information is obtained relative to some known objective or goal. Assessment is a broad term that includes testing. A test is a special form of assessment. Tests are assessments made under controlled circumstances, especially so that they may be administered. In other words, all tests are assessments, but not all assessments are tests. We test at the end of a lesson or unit. A test or assessment yields information relative to an objective or goal. In that sense, we test or assess to determine whether or not an objective or goal has been obtained. A test or testing is a method to determine a student's ability to complete certain tasks or demonstrate mastery of a skill or knowledge of content. Some types would be multiple choice test or a weekly spelling test. While it is commonly used interchangeably with assessment or even evaluation, it can be distinguished by the fact that a test is one form of an assessment. An assessment is a process of gathering information to monitor progress and make educational decisions if necessary. As noted in my definition of test, an assessment may include a test but also includes methods such as observations, interviews, behavior monitoring, and etc. Evaluation is perhaps the most complex and least understood of the terms. Inherent in the idea of evaluation is value. When we evaluate, what we are doing is engaging in some process that is designed to provide information that will help us make a judgment about a given situation. Generally, any evaluation process requires information about the situation in a question. A situation is an umbrella term that takes into account such ideas as objectives, goals, standards, procedures, and so on. When we evaluate, we are saying that the process will yield information regarding the worthiness, appropriateness, goodness, validity, legality, and etc. of something for which a reliable measurement or assessment has been made. So, evaluation is a procedure used to determine whether the subject or the students meet a preset criteria such as qualifying for special education services. This uses assessments to make a determination of qualification in accordance with a predetermined criteria. So, measurement refers to the process by which the attributes of dimensions of some physical object are determined. Measurement refers to the process by which the attributes or dimensions of some physical object are determined. One exception seems to be in the use of the word measure in determining the IQ of a person or the IQ of the learner or student. Measuring such things as attitudes or preferences also applies. However, when we measure, we generally use some standard instrument to determine how big, how tall, how heavy, how voluminous, how hot, how cold, how fast, or how straight something actually is. Standard instruments refer to instruments such as rulers, scales, thermometers, pressure gauges, etc. We measure to obtain information about what it is. Such information may or may not be useful depending on the accuracy of the instruments we use and our skill at using them. There are few such instruments in the social sciences that approach the validity and reliability of, say, a 12 inches ruler. We measure how big a classroom is in terms of a square feet. and we measure the temperature of the room by using the thermometer. And we use OHM meters to determine the voltage, amperage, and resistance in a circuit. In all of these examples, we are not assessing anything. We are simply collecting information relative to some established rule or standard. Assessment is therefore quite different from measurement and has uses that suggest very different purposes. Measurement, beyond its general definition, refers to the set of procedures and the principles for how to use the procedures in educational tests and assessments. Some of the basic principles of measurement in educational evaluations would be raw scores, percentile ranks, derived scores, and standard scores. And to sum it all, we measure distance, we assess learning, and we evaluate results in terms of some set of criteria. These three terms are certainly share some common attributes, but it is useful to think of them as separate but connected ideas and processes. Why it is important to distinguish the similarities and differences of the terms assessment, measurement, testing, and evaluation. It is important to distinguish the similarities and differences of the terms assessment, measurement, testing, and evaluation because these words are all fundamental to the knowledge base of professional teachers and effective teaching. So, as a future teacher, I should study and learn these things because it can help me in evaluating, measuring, testing, and assessing my students in the near future. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoy listening and watching the presentation that I've shown in the PowerPoint presentation. Thank you everyone and God bless. Stay safe and always wear your mask when you go outside. Bye!